Right. Hey guys, welcome. I'm going to give a few more people a chance to join. Um, while we do that, make sure you have your recipe in front of you and then go ahead and double check your ingredients. If you want to go ahead and melt your butter, that's a half stick of butter, go for that. We're going to get started, okay? Ingredient wise, you need some flour. If you're doing gluten-free, just get a gluten-free mix like this that says sub 1 to 1, okay? All right, flour, we need baking soda, baking powder, salt, okay? You're gonna need some brown sugar and white sugar. You need 3/4 cup of milk. You can use a dairy-free milk. You can use 1%, 2% whole milk, whatever floats your boat. If you want to make buttermilk, then you'll add in a dash of white vinegar. And you'll do that now and let that sit and it'll get all nice and chunky because who doesn't like chunky milk, okay? So I'm taking my white vinegar and I'm adding a dash. I'm just gonna stir that in a little bit. Boom, let it sit, easy. All right, so we need a half stick of melted butter. You need 2 eggs and that's it. I'm gonna add my flavor extracts because it's liquid to that liquid ingredient. Are we good to start? Now, the frying part. I'm gonna use canola oil and I'm using a cast iron pan. If you don't have a thermometer, you're in luck. There's other ways to check if your oil is at 350 to 360 degrees. You can take a popcorn kernel, put it into the oil. Popcorn will pop at about 350 to 360 degrees. So when it pops, you know it's good to go. Or you can get a grain of rice and do the same thing. Rice will start cooking at that temp. You can also take a cube of bread and put it in the oil. It'll take 60 seconds for that bread to brown if it's at 360 degrees. So those are some ways to do it. Otherwise, get a thermometer that can go in there and you're gonna want your temperature on your oil at 350, 360 degrees. It will take about 10 minutes or so for that to heat up on a medium heat. Anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes, depending how aggressive you get on your heat. So you don't need to get it going just yet, but just want to give you a heads up. Dry ingredients first. So go ahead and get out your mixing bowl. Okay, it doesn't have to be super big at all, but it's going to have to hold 3.5 cups of flour. So get your flour out. Get your spoon, and you have to spoon your flour into your measuring cup. Okay, so we're going to do this 3 times and then grab your 1/2 cup measuring cup and do that 1 time. So 3.5 cups of flour. You are spooning it into your measuring cup. If you have other helpers in the kitchen, it's a great opportunity for everyone to have a turn, right? Once you get to the top, turn your spoon over, level it off, and the bowl goes. 3.5 cups. Now, I have gone asked before, can you do whole wheat flour to make healthier donuts? Yeah, but let's just embrace that we're eating donuts and leave it at that, okay? Let's just do white flour. It's okay. So we're doing this 3.5 cups of flour. I'm onto my 1/3. And then I'm gonna grab my 1/2 cup. At you guys. I'm so proud. I've seen some of you guys, you went immediately to grabbing your spoon and doing it the right way. And I love that I had a couple people message me that they've been watching any kind of movie where they're cooking and they see them measuring flour the wrong way. And I'm just so proud. So proud that you all have realized that Hollywood's not completely accurate. All right, 1/2 cup in there. 3.5 cups flour. Now we're doing baking soda. So you want a 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. And then we want 2 teaspoons of baking powder. Quick little quiz. If you know how many teaspoons are in 1 tablespoon, go ahead and type that in the chat or in the live feed. Do you know how many teaspoons are in 1 tablespoon? All right, if you're doing gluten-free, yes, you're doing the same measurements, guys. same measurements. That's what I love about these 1-to-1 gluten-free flours. It's the same thing. Gluten-free baking has gotten so easy now because of these mixes. I mean, just you can pretty much sub it in for almost everything. All right, 1/2 teaspoon baking soda, 2 teaspoons baking powder, and yes, we got one person got it right. There are 3 teaspoons in 1 tablespoon. That is a measurement conversion to stick in your brain because it makes your life a lot easier when you go to double recipes or cut them in half. 3 teaspoons, 1 tablespoon. All right, now to the salt. And we have to do our salt challenge. The BMK salt challenge is you pour into your hand what you think is 1 teaspoon of salt. Not into your measuring spoon yet. Pour into your hand what you think is 1 teaspoon of salt. Then grab your measuring spoon and see if you were correct. If there's more than one of you in the kitchen, turn this into a friendly little competition and let's see who can better estimate what 1 teaspoon of salt is. If you can start estimating and know, like, all right, that's 1 teaspoon, that's 2 teaspoons, you will get so much more confident in the kitchen. Life becomes easier and you have fewer dishes to do. A win-win-win. Okay. We have our salt in here. Now it's time for sugar. So you're going to get out your smallest measuring cup. That'd be the 1/4 measuring cup. And you're going to put in 1/4 cup of brown sugar. You don't have to pack it in too much. I always just pack my brown sugar just a little bit. 1/4 cup of brown sugar. And then you're going to do 1/2 cup of white sugar. So go ahead and do 1/2 cup of white sugar. And there, you guys, no questions yet? Make me a little suspicious. All right. The reason I did 2 scoops for those who are also like, wait, what? I was just using my 1/4 cup, doing a little fun math. I saw some eyes like this on me. All right, we got our dry ingredients in here. Let's double check. Flour, check. Baking soda, check. Baking powder, salt, sugar, and sugar. If you're going to add cocoa powder to make chocolate donuts, go ahead and add in a few tablespoons of cocoa powder, or any, if you're going to zest a lemon, zest that lemon in right now. Any other type of dry ingredients. Someone asked if Splenda can be used instead. You can certainly sub in any kind of like sugar-free substitute. You could do stevia, Splenda. I prefer stevia over Splenda personally, but you can add that in totally. All right, go ahead guys and grab a spoon, your hands, spatula, whatever you want to do, and mix those dry ingredients together. It's so easy. It's about done. All right, I use my hands. I love doing these classes. I'm just cooking for my family, so I can just use my hands. And if my kids are like, ew, use your hands, they don't get to eat it, and I do. So it all works. Dry ingredients are mixed. Okay. Get out, guys, a slightly smaller mixing bowl. This is for our wet ingredients. Our wet ingredients include our 3/4 cup of milk and or buttermilk, 2 eggs, and 1/2 stick of melted butter. So if you haven't melted that butter, go ahead and pop it in the microwave. Okay. All right, we're gonna start with the eggs. One-handed egg crack. So this works out great. If there's 2 of you in the kitchen, you each get 1 egg. We have our egg friends here, Bob and Susie. Okay, they join us every day. We're gonna start with Bob. To do a one-handed egg crack, you are going to take your 2 fingers and we're going to cover Bob's eyes so he can't see what's about to happen. We're going to then reach around and with our thumb cover Bob's mouth so he cannot scream. And then we're going to crack Bob right where his nose would be, okay, right above his mouth. All right, so I got Bob's eyes covered, his mouth covered, looks like this. If you have little hands, guys, and you can't completely cover Bob's eyes and mouth, that's okay. Just do the best you can. Crack, and then lift up with your 2 fingers and in with your thumb, and you got yourself an eggshell puppet. Okay, we got Susie now, all right? So cover Susie's eyes so she can't see what's about to happen. Cover her mouth so she cannot scream. She has a very loud scream. And we're gonna crack Susie right where her gorgeous little nose would be, okay? So eyes are covered, mouth are covered. crack in, and then I pull down with my thumb, up with my fingers, out comes her brain, and we got ourselves our puppet. One-handed egg crack. It's fun to do, makes you feel fancy, and it keeps your other hand clean. So it's kind of a win-win-win. All right, you're gonna take your fork or spatula, and we're gonna now beat them up. If their day hasn't been hard enough already, it's now gotten a lot worse as we beat together. All right, we beat up Bob and Susie in there. Now we're gonna go ahead and add in our melted butter. So grab your melted butter and pour that in there. Grab a spoon, get that all in there. And then we're gonna put in our milk, all right? So my milk is nice and chunky now. Again, who doesn't love chunky milk? I'm gonna switch my video so you can see just how beautifully chunky my milk is. So, or not. All right, here you go. So you should be able to kind of chunk out your milk. That's a nice sour milk there. And then go ahead, move this all aside there. There, here I struggle with my opposite. There we go. All right, put in our 3/4 cup of milk. Mix that in. Now I'm gonna add in my extract. I'm gonna add in about 2 teaspoons of vanilla. And we all know how much Becky doesn't like to measure. So I'm gonna just put in 2 capfuls. This is easier for me. All right, so I'm gonna fill my cap up with vanilla once, twice, 3 times a lady. And mix that in. That's all. It is that simple. If you want to go ahead and start heating up your oil, you can do so. Because all we have to do now is combine our wet and dry ingredients, roll out our dough, cut it, and fry it. So if you want to start slowly heating up your oil, you can do that. Again, you want to make sure you have about like 1.5 to 2 inches of oil in your pan so that that donut has plenty of room to like swim around and fry for you. All right, so I'm combining my liquid ingredients and dry ingredients, and we are mixing that together. All right, so go ahead and mix that dough together. It should be not super sticky, okay? If it's super goopy and sticky, like I always call it like the monster snot dough, then you're gonna wanna add just a little bit more flour, and I just video difference. Okay, so once your dough looks like this, and if your hands are goopy like mine, remember the rule. If your hands are goopy, your dough will forever feel goopy. So take a moment and just wash off your hands, okay? It will greatly make the rest of your life a lot easier. So I'm going to de-goopify my hands before I roll it out. If you are not to that rolling out stage, it's okay. We got plenty of time, so don't stress about it. I am gonna put a little flour down on my counter when I roll out my dough, okay, to just help it not get so sticky. But again, gonna de-goop my hands and then we'll roll them out. Okay, you guys are all ready to get going to the next stage, rolling out our donuts. So I have some flour down on my counter, all right, put a little on top, flip it over so it's not gonna stick too much. I have out my cookie cutters. I have circles, a bunch of different sizes, okay? You are the boss, not me, so you choose the size of your donuts. Do you wanna make big ones, make big ones, small ones, small ones. If you wanna do square donuts, do square donuts. Nobody cares, they still taste delicious, okay? You want to free form, make your own donuts by hand? Do it, sounds fantastic. Take a wine glass, turn it around, cut it that way, okay? Whatever floats your boat. You are going to do make your life easier, have a smaller one that you can then cut out the ring. This is cannoli mold that works well, or have a smaller circular one, or just use your thumb and pop it out just like we would for bagels. Okay. Roll out your dough, or you can almost kind of manipulate it by hand. Okay. I have mine to about 1/2 inch thickness for my dough. And then what I'm going to do is I'll take whatever size, I'll do this one, okay? Cut out my circle. If I'm filling the donut, doing a filled donut, you're done at this stage, okay? Do not make this into a ring. If you want to do a ring donut, then this is one I would take my smaller cookie cutter, cut out the middle, pop this out. This is my donut hole. These donuts cook in about 2 to 3 minutes per side. Okay, they're a nice kind of golden brown. The exact time is going to depend on the temp of your oil and all that goodness, okay, of like how thick your donuts, all that. So you are going to have to use your brain and your eyeballs to figure out the exact time. Please also remember that you need to let that temp come back up before you do your next one. You will know that your temp is not right when either your donut burns immediately or it doesn't cook at all and it just becomes soggy, greasy, and like not even delicious dough, okay? Like I was thinking like, oh, it's just like extra oily, yummy. It's not, okay? So try to keep that temp around 350, 360 degrees. Cut out your donuts, take your extra dough, roll it back out, rinse and repeat. After I fry mine, I like to put them on a cookie, on like a cooling rack, okay? And then I put foil underneath on the cookie sheet so I don't have to do like more dishes, because then I just like roll up that foil and throw it away. Yes, I know it's wasteful and I understand that, but that's what I do. So I put on top of here that helps that oil drip off. And I want some of my donuts to be cool before I frost them. Now, some of them, if I'm going to do it like an old-fashioned glazed donut, where I want that glaze to like soak in on that and be it's like translucent, then I'm going to actually dip it in the glaze when it's still warm. If I want to do a cinnamon sugar donut, I'm going to dip it in cinnamon sugar mix while it's still warm so it sticks. Okay, so some of your donuts you might be cooling off completely. Some you might be doing things with while it's still warm. Here's my hot oil. I'm going to take my donut. I'm going to go ahead and put my donut in there. And I'm going to cook it for about 2 to 3 minutes. And then I'm going to flip it. All right, so 2 to 3 minutes. And while I'm doing that, I'm prepping other ones. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and flip my donut. And I will flip my camera over. You guys are doing great. All right. So I flipped it over. It's just slightly kind of golden brown on that. I'll let that finish cooking a little bit. My temperature, my oil dropped 10 degrees when I put that in there. It's coming back up, but that's what I'm saying as far as like, make sure you do watch the temp so you do not overload your oil for that. If you want to make a glaze for your donut, it's really, really easy to do. If I want to just make a really nice thin glaze, okay? And in fact, you can do it all in one bowl, just do different stages. I'm gonna do it in 2 separate bowls. You're gonna put in powdered sugar, all right? I have just like 3/4 cup or so of powdered sugar into my bowl. And then I'm just going to add in some milk. Right, about a tablespoon at a time. Stir that in and mix it all together. So I put about 1 tablespoon in. Now, if I want to do glazed donuts, like your old-fashioned glazed donuts, I want my glaze to be really, really thin. Okay, it's going to be like clear. Okay, translucent. This, too thick. Okay, so I'm going to add in more milk until it becomes really, really thin glaze. For my frosted donuts, oh, you betcha I want them that thick, right? And I'm going to add in like fun food coloring and stuff like that to make them all kind of Easter colored donuts. But if I want to do just a really classic glazed donut, right? I tell you, this thing is cute and fun. I was like, oh, it's Easter colors. It does not work well. Not a fan. Sometimes cute and fun doesn't beat a good fork. Okay. So I want that glaze to just fall right off, just like that for glazed donuts. I am, of course, going to add in some vanilla because, again, I love vanilla. So I'm going to add in a little vanilla. But if I want to do like a lemon glaze donut, I'm gonna be adding in some lemon extract. Now I want to do that, okay? So I'm mixing that vanilla. How much vanilla did I do? I just did a dash, guys. That's how Becky measures, a dash. All right, that is a really thin glaze. This is not gonna show up at all. This is so thin, just not, this is what I want. Like glazed donuts, right? We just want that really thin layer on there. So I'm gonna take my donut and I'm just going to dip it into the glaze, pull that off, okay? And then put it back. This is still warm. I'm dipping it while it's warm so that glaze soaks into it. And then I'm gonna set it back on the rack and let that dry. You know, get that nice crispy, like crunch of a glaze, you know, like, oh, it's so good. On there. All right. The hands are so messy. So for a thicker glaze, again, I'm gonna just start with a bowl, like a cereal bowl, okay? And then I'm gonna just spoon in some powdered sugar. And the reason I'm not giving you an exact measurement, because I don't want you to ever have to follow recipes always, but just know how to make it, and then it's easy, okay? You don't have to like be like, oh, what was that recipe for a glaze again? Okay, I'd rather you just learn how to do it. A glaze is powdered sugar and then either milk, cream, or you can even use water. I don't usually use water because it doesn't have as much flavor, but you can use that, and then any other flavor you want. Start with the powdered sugar and add in your liquid until it gets to the right consistency. If it gets too thin, add more powdered sugar. Too thick, add more of your liquid. You could add maple syrup for a maple flavored glaze, a very sweet one. I always tell you guys, my recommendation is if you add maple syrup or anything like that to your glaze, add in a pinch of salt, a little bit of salt, like sea salt and maple syrup glaze, so good. Or if you're doing like a bacon maple donut, you can add in some bacon crumbles into your glaze. All right, I'm throwing some powdered sugar in here. What a lot of times I'll do if I want to do a bunch of different flavors and colors, I will go ahead and make one big batch of glaze and then divide that into different bowls and then individually flavor and color them instead of making a bunch of different ones from scratch. All right. And then I have some cream. I'm using heavy whipping cream to make my glaze for this because why not? It's delicious. So I'm adding a little bit of cream. And then I'm going to grab this time, and I'm just going to start mixing together. Always start with less liquid than you think because it's a lot easier to add more. All right, I want a thick frosting, okay? That's going to look like a frosting that you almost put on a cake or a cupcake. Then this is a good thickness for that, okay? But this is not going to like be a nice glaze because this is going to like go like one big lump on there, okay? But you could also spread it on. So I might then take this, put this in a bowl, part of that, and then keep thinning it out. This would be a good consistency to pipe into a donut. So for a filled donut, we are just going to fry it like this, okay? Into a circle. I am going to do a filled donut. What flavor do I want to do? I'm going to do a lemon. A lemon. Yeah, that sounds good. Okay. I would do lemon curd if I have it, because that is my absolute favorite. And I do have a recipe for easy microwavable lemon curd on my website. But you need real lemons. I don't have any. All right, so I have a lemon. I'm going to do lemon vanilla. I'm going to add a little bit of vanilla. Filling. Okay, so to do a filled donut, I would then take my frosting. Now, for piping bag tips, remember guys, you are going to put the piping tip inside the bag. So I cut the tip of the bag off. I'm putting piping tip through, okay? And then I'm gonna put in a spoonful of this filling. I'm just doing a small amount, so I'm just gonna do one. And I'm gonna squeeze that filling all the way down into there so it's just starting to come off the tip there. Okay, filled donuts. You ready? All right. Now, you need to let your donuts cool completely. I have not let my donut cool completely because it's 11:30. I want to let you guys go. Okay. So do not use it until it's cooled completely. You would take your piping tip. Okay. You're gonna stick into the side, fill it. Okay. Until it starts to kind of come back out there on the side, and then that's a filled donut. And then I'm going to then frost it all over the top. Okay. So you just take your piping tip, stick it into your donut, squeeze it in there. Okay. And then like when I frost it, sometimes I'll frost it so I cover that bowl up. Otherwise, I think it's kind of fun to have that sticking outside. I'll leave it like that. Really easy to do. You're taking your pictures, you're posting them, you're spreading the word, and you're going to show up next week for non-bread, and you're going to tell me what else you want me to add. And then, yeah, you're gonna stay in touch. Keep following the page. It's gonna be fun. If you are local, sign up for camps. Most of them are full, but I might add in some pop-up camps, so keep an eye out for those. Any other questions? Oh, someone wants to do gnocchi. That'd be fun. Anything else? No. And tell me, raise your, like, have you eaten the donuts? Any of you guys little ones? If you guys have not, you are so well disciplined, because I have already licked my fingers. You haven't even seen it, but I did for my frosting. It was delicious. Also, tell me what type of donuts you make, okay? So I can hear about it. I'll see you guys next week. Thank you for hanging out. And whatever I forgot to say, you already know. Have a happy Easter, guys. See you later. Bye.